we're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting today. Dr. Lucas is going to sneak in here in just a few minutes and talk to you about a few things. I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, so we should be out of here pretty soon. The first thing on the agenda says live text. We are going to continue to use live text for all of our evaluation system this semester. We've used it for how many years now, Candace? 2 full years, I think, at least. At least 2. And I think we all now kind of have the hang of things. Sometimes we get a little off kilter, maybe forget our password or something like that. But we seem to be doing just fine with it. If you still are just uncomfortable with it and you want to do it on paper and send it in to me and then I put it in for you, that's totally fine as well. We're still doing that. So, but we are going to continue to use that evaluation system. It's just paperless, which is nice. It's a lot more efficient. Right now, I'll have students who graduated 2 years ago who are applying for jobs and will call and say, hey, can I get my evaluations? And I've got them right there, just by a click. So that's nice. Yes, ma'am.
Do the students have access
Yes.
to that blank?
Yes,
template?
they do. Yeah, they'll have access to it, and then they have access to their online evaluation, but they also have a blank paper copy as well, so they know what they're being scored on. So, if you'll open up to the packet there where I stapled. The second page is just some survey data that I collected during the spring semester. You'll know that I send out surveys to you all. I send out surveys to our cooperating teachers and to our students every time we finish up a placement. And I just try to get good feedback, and it helps us with the scope of what we're doing, maybe make some changes or what we know we're doing really well. So if you'll look at the level 2, I divided it up into level 2 and level 3, pros and cons. So the things that were scored the highest on the level 2 were that supervisors showed genuine interest in the students and the teaching profession as a whole, and they showed encouragement to try new teaching styles. Right now, it's pretty hard to sell teaching, and I think we all know that. We're trying to sell it at recruitment. I think parents are not wanting to see their students, their children go into education. I think it's just one of those. It runs in a cycle, and we're in that cycle right now, and so especially in the state. So I think when we show a general interest in the profession as a whole, and show them how important that is, that means everything to them, because then they feel like they really are on the right path. For the cons, on the level 2, students wanted to see more written feedback, and they wanted supervisors to identify their strengths and weaknesses more clearly and concisely. So that just goes to show us that they want to hear what we have to say. They want to improve, for the most part. We all know how this goes. But, so be very specific with your feedback. If you see someone who you feel like isn't prepared to speak in front of the class, you need to tell them, you need to practice talking to your mom or talking to your roommate, and practice your teaching skills and practice your strategies. So just be very specific with all of that feedback. So on the level 3, all of the pros were good role model for teaching, positive attitudes toward teaching, which, like I said just previously, is really important right now, encouragement to try new teaching styles, and providing regular feedback. So that's great. Cons were observing a variety of lessons, and again, providing clear and concise feedback, exactly what went well and what needs work. So, and I think on that observing a variety of lessons, I know with my observations, I typically schedule those in the mornings, just because I can go wherever I need to go, do the observation, and then come back to work for the day. It's hard for me to get out in the afternoon and observe. So I think that is maybe what they're talking about, is just seeing them at different times. If you have a student teacher and you see them every time at 9 a.m., especially in elementary, you're going to see them teaching the same thing every time. So I think that's what that points to. And again, just that concise feedback, clear feedback. Don't hold back on that. Be very to the point. I think that sometimes we're afraid of hurting people's feelings. I think cooperating teachers are way worse about that than we are. But what ends up happening if we don't provide that feedback early and say, listen, and if we go in and we just say, oh, you're doing good, that doesn't tell them anything, you know. But if we say, listen, you really need to work on your voice projection, you really need to work on your planning, then they have something to go on there. And then when it comes time for an evaluation, and maybe they don't do so well, then they're not like, well, you said I was doing good, you know. So just remember that. Please just don't, you know, I'm not telling you to be mean to anybody, obviously, but don't tiptoe around it. Be very direct, and I think that it will just be better for everybody if we can do that. So, good morning. All right, next on our agenda is the travel. I sent everybody an email yesterday, and the travel directions are on the 3rd page of this little packet right here. Tanya, would you like to tell them a little bit about the travel situation? Because I think that was a question at the end of the semester last time.
Okay, so apparently we missed the ball somewhere. It wasn't just us. They didn't let us know. That travel thing that you guys do, that you get this certificate for, that has to be done by everybody that's going to get travel reimbursement, has to be done every 3 years. So apparently, like, there was a 3-year period in between that you all didn't do it, and they didn't tell us that you needed to renew it. We weren't given a timeline or anything. So it was everybody's fault, I guess. Yes, ma'am.
So if we did it last year, do we do it again this year?
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. So it's not a 3 years from the date of hire. It's a set 3 years. So it was done in 15, so it's going to be done again in 18. So we missed that 15. For somehow we all missed that 15, but they have a new travel department that's like watching things with a fine-tooth comb. So what happened is we got to the very last travel reimbursement, and then now they're sending them all back to me saying this person hasn't done this person hasn't done this, which was extremely frustrating. But the man, Tracy Smith, took care of it and said don't worry about it, but it has to be done before you can get your first travel reimbursement for this fall. Then you'll have to do it again next year, which will be good for 3 years.
Okay.
But they're different. They're all different. You're not repeating the same thing. They're different. So
I went ahead and did mine last week sometime.
she's done hers. Alan has done hers.
I think it's like a defensive driving. It's about 30 minutes
It's
at
Tanner.
the most. You know, so it's just little scenarios. You guys know this. But no, they sent all those back. And, you know, I was gone for the summer. Everybody was gone. And Tanya was like, listen, I got him to push them through this time, but we're all going to have to do it again.
Well,
So-
he was completely unaware that it had happened. So
Yeah.
that tells you the communication drops
Breaks
somewhere.
down.
Yeah. So, and he's the
His
one.
remark to me was, that when they got a new person down there.
Well, he had no. I mean, this gentleman that's over the travel is in this building, and they're over in Old Main, and they're supposed to be on the same page. And he had no idea there was a new person. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So
So it wasn't processing on our end. It was processing on their end.
So you all that should have gotten it taken care of, so if anybody didn't get theirs, let me know, but everybody should have. But it does need to be done prior to, because it'll happen again. If you turn a reimbursement in and not turn it in, they'll deny it.
Right.
So,
So if you have any questions on how to get logged in to do this, yes,
Can they use these computers?
we should be able to
If you
use
guys
this
wanna
after
do
we
it,
finish.
As soon as we're finished, you can log into these computers. And
the only problem with that is you have to know your user and password. So if you don't have that, the library can give you that.
Or I have the phone number to the help desk at
Correct.
the
She has
library.
the phone number, and they can give it to you over the
Yeah,
phone.
and the help desk is very good. I'm gonna go ahead and let you all write that down. In case you leave here and you go home and you're trying to figure it out. It is 696-2300. And they are very helpful in helping you figure out your MU ID and, you know, those sorts
They'll
of
just need your
things.
901 number. That's what they're going to ask you for. So have that up front and know that. Yes,
Let
sir.
me ask you, I tried that yesterday, and when it went to the last page, I got an oops page that said that,
Did you have your username and password?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd already had that? Oh,
Well, maybe we can try it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened, I never could get through those directions. I called Tracy and talked with him. He
He walked
tried to
you-
walk me through it, and I kept, he said, something's not right. And what he did, he just sent me a link.
Sent you a link, so
You
they
just
may
click on
just
this link
do
and
that.
click
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's probably what that that
Yeah, I
top
sent an
link of what-
email out yesterday and it has a link in it. And then I printed out the directions as well, and that's what's attached. So you'll have both of those.
So what we might do after this, well, I know Amanda's gone back or whatever, if you all wanna sit in here and do it, we can call over there and get them. I can sit here with you and try to help you if you want me to.
Sure.
We can do that.
Okay,
That's all.
so in order to get that reimbursement, that has to be done. So just so everybody is aware of that. All right, if you look up at the front, this is our PLC page that we sort of introduced to you last semester. We were pretty excited about it. Has all of our important links basically for our office and for what we do. And we have this really fantastic young man working on this floor now, and I sent him the changes yesterday, and the changes are made today, which is pretty awesome. So, but what I want you to do is I really want you to encourage your students and your cooperating teachers to visit the site and to use the resources we have. So, we haven't really updated pictures yet, but all of the forms are there, all of the links are there, and while they say 16, 17, I'll have Jason go in and change those. Those are the same. The handbooks are the same. The tips are the same. I passed out a copy of the visit log to you. If you use that, you need another one. There it is.
Is that where the, what was the last
The blank evaluation.
Is that where it is?
The expectations are on there. The blank evaluation is not. That is something that we could add. That's a good idea. So let me jot that down so I don't forget it. Thank you. But also, you know that your students, we do this responsibility profile, which I will be giving them on Monday at our orientation. So that's there in case they lose that. The contract that we've worked with the last few semesters too is there as well. And then our professional code of conduct that we all, well, I clicked the wrong thing. Our professional code of conduct, which we go over with a fine-tooth comb at all of our orientations about just professionalism, professional dress, attendance, expectations, cell phone, social media. So it is all there. Any information that they have a question about, or that you might have a question about, or a cooperating teacher might have a question about, they can probably find it right here. For them, I mean, if they can't, then I'll give it to you and then I'll put it on there so they can find it. Because I want this to just be a one-touch sort of thing to where it's easy access and easy ways to find answers to questions. So there's the Department of Ed website, the live text links, Cape Standard 2, which is what my office is, our office, mine and Candace's office is basically responsible for. And then cooperating teachers. I sent this out the other day to our upcoming first placements, but it's tips for hosting teacher candidates, like prior to the mentorship, what you do, first day, early in the placement, and throughout. So it's just good information and good reminders. So all of these items are here. And then all of our contacts are here. So if you just forget my email address, you can just click it. And then Jason went ahead and updated all of our important dates for 2017. So if you ever think, oh, I think we were supposed to have a seminar today, but I'm not sure, it's listed. So we're all there. Everything is on there. If you'll notice, our orientation is Monday, like it always is, the very first day of the semester, from 9 until 3. I'm not sure what time the eclipse will take place, but I will try to work that out to where we're not in the basement during that time. The teachers are going to start on the 22nd. Our student teachers are, which in Wayne County is kind of a really cool thing because their teachers don't start till the 24th. So they're getting 2 days of like professional development, and they're getting to see what the first day of school really is. When our Cabell County people go in, these kids have already been going for 2 weeks. They understand expectations, they understand the directions, they understand the rules. And on the 24th, when Wayne County starts, they're going to get the kids screaming, and you're carrying them down the hallway to the classroom because they don't want to, go away from their mom. And they're just going to get the real taste of how it's going to be. Yes. So I have contacted all of them, and I let the Wayne County people know that they need to get in touch with their teacher because I know on the 22nd, like elementary teachers are at Sarita Canova Elementary for professional development. The high school teachers, I'm not sure where they are. I'll try to find that out today. But they'll need to report with their teacher. So, which is a great thing. I mean, they're going to get all this extra info, which is pretty cool. On the 21st, Dr. Lucas will talk to them about that first task of the TPA, which we always make first, and we always do. And she's going to talk to you all more about that in just a minute when she comes in. But then if you'll see, our seminars are then set up. One thing I did change this semester is not all of the seminars are like on Thursday afternoons, because that was a big complaint I got, was that especially secondary people were missing the exact same thing every single week. They were missing the exact same class or the exact same class period. PE, art, and music, they were maybe never seeing that group that they had because we had those scheduled at the same time. So what I did is we scheduled them on different dates throughout the week, and we did different times. We did afternoon, and then the next week we did a morning, afternoon, and morning. And I hope that doesn't totally mess up anybody, but I just felt like it would be a better experience for our student teachers. So, yes.
Is it possible to include the graduate students in some of those orientations that previously they have not been required?
Yes, the graduate students who are not on the job are required to come to my orientations. Yes, if they are not on the job. If they are on the job, Dr. Allen will do a Saturday orientation with them so they don't have to miss a day of work. That's the plan for this semester. I think it'll just be better. Keep everybody on the same page. But if you'll see there, we have our level 2 start date, our level 2 orientation is listed there. The placement dates, our final seminar, last days for clinicals, and commencement. It's all listed there. So if you have any questions about a date, simply just find it on that site, and if it's not there, call me. And we will, Jason will, since he's so good at this, if we do decide to change a date or move something around, I can send it to him and he'll update it. So if you look here, we have some featured articles. I've added a couple more this semester that we didn't have last semester. And then Jason went ahead and archived all of our 2017 videos. So all of the seminar videos from spring 2017 are there in that archive. The new videos will show up under fall 2018. So that'll be good. I mean, he's very organized. So there's the site. Like I said, it's pretty great. We're pretty proud of it. And I just really would like for you to encourage your cooperating teachers to use it. I'm going to encourage them to use it as well. Encourage the students to use it. I'll do the same. And then if they have any questions about anything else that we're doing, all of the drop downs are there, which is pretty great.
And if there's anything that you think we need to add
Yes.
to the site, this is a working, breathing website. We want it to be useful. I mean, I go to it all the time for dates.
Right.
And I want you guys to be able to use it. But if there's things that you want to see on there, things that will help you, let us know, because this is for all of us. It's not, I don't want to say it's a clinical office website. It's our website. We want to add whatever we need to add.
So,
And if there's something like, we've got little, like what our students are saying, if you've got a student that has something going on, something that's, a really great project that they're doing, or something that you're observing in the classroom, let us know and we'll put it up.
yeah, we want to make a link for that. So, yeah, we want to see good things happening. If you ever go in my office, I have this board up there that has every newspaper clipping of one of our students since I've been here. I cut it out and stick it up there just because I'm like, this is what we're doing. We're doing robotics. Our kids are playing music. They're doing great things. And so I try to do that. So if you see something in the paper or about one of our former students even, just let me know. I want to make that available. So, all right. Things that I handed out kind of separately were the visit log, which we've talked about. Please continue to do that. It's just good accountability for everybody. I keep it for my visits. The students, it's good for them because they can say, well, my teacher never came, or my supervisor never came and observed me. Oh, really? Because, yeah, they did, you know, and I know you sign in, yes, ma'am.
I'll make them sign it.
And I would too, maybe make them initial it or something to that effect, because it just is what it is, you know, and I'm just gonna say this, kids lie. Even adults lie, you know, people lie, and whether we want to believe that or not, you know, and, can you believe that? So,
So now you
anyway.
want us to turn them into you, or you just
Yes,
keep them for
you
us?
can keep them until the end of the semester, and then you can forward them to me or forward them to Tanya, and she'll
Just
get them to
email them,
me.
whatever.
Yeah, email them, scan them, whatever, and I just keep them in a file. And that way, when our accreditation, you know, happens, if they say, well, how do you know your supervisor going? Well, here's how I know, you know, they keep track of it, so. Like I said earlier, we will do the contracts and the responsibility profiles and all of that on Monday. I'll hand all of that out. So I will just say overall, I think we're gonna have a pretty good student teaching group. We have a big number of level 2 students. We have 45 elementary right now, 46 maybe. So that's a lot. We've got a big group and a big group of secondary. And then we also have our cohort, our Williamson cohort, who is doing their level 2s. And I think there are 12 of those, Mike, right now, maybe 12 to 14. And so we have a big group that's going to be coming through student teaching in the spring. So that's pretty exciting. Thank goodness, right? Okay, well, I am going to turn the rest of this over to Dr. Lucas. And I told you I was hammered over, man. And she is going to talk to you all about some observation, TPAs, and things like that. And then I'll be available for questions. You're last, you're on. Yeah, okay, cool.
And don't mess
I won't
around.
keep you very long, that's okay.
I heard Amanda mentioning things about the observation form and all of that, and I just want to stress a little bit how important that is for us to make sure that we do that, because that's the only way we have documentation for, the name just left me. No. Their plans, their improvement plans, sorry. And, so we really need to make sure that we do that. I have another form, since we're talking about it. I have another form that I'm going to show you. Maybe. Sorry.
That is the one we had last semester, which is still available to you. So, I like that. I think you're gonna really like this. More stuff. There we go.
So, I know Amanda talked about this one, and I just heard that some of you really like that. I know we've used something like this in the past as well. Our evaluation form, I know all of you have seen it, but our evaluation form looks similar to this. It's based on the West Virginia Professional Teaching Standards, and it has bullets. And the only thing that's different here is that there is a line instead of a bullet. So this came from, you can see WVUP, and a friend of mine teaches there, and we, in this group that have been working on the TPAs, she shared this with us, and I know it's quite blurry at the moment, so you may or may not be able to read it, and that's okay, you don't. Okay, well, autofocus didn't do anything. But it is exactly like the evaluation form. They really like it, and this would be one document per person for the entire semester. So what they do is they go through, because this is what you're going to be evaluating the students on. What they do is they use a different color pen. I'm not sure if you can see it, but up here, evaluation number 1, and they put the date when it was and who the evaluator was, and this one's in black. Number 2 is in red. Can you all even see the colors? Okay. And number 3 is in green. And so what they do is they go through and they evaluate the student And if you can see, there are dates and check marks, and they're in different colors. So the first time they use black, it wouldn't make any difference. And they kind of mark all the way through here. They make comments, and the comments are in the same color. So they go all the way through, and then there, at the very end, there are additional comments that they've added. And then they sign it in the colored pen, and they have the student sign it after they've read it. So then the next time you go back for a visit, you use a different color pen so you can kind of keep track. That way you can see the progression or the deterioration of the student. And so when it comes time for midterms, you have something, you've already really done it. So all you have to do is just transfer this information to the evaluation form. And then when it comes time for finals, you have the exact same thing. I talked to Amanda about this, and this is where we're going, because it's going to be, for our accreditation, it's going to be a whole lot better. I could see that this form is a lot less, and you can write things in, but a lot of people, and I'm not saying you all, but a lot of people struggle with taking this and then having to fill out all of this. So if you've already done it, then it might be a little bit easier. We're not going to force this on you this semester. However, we will have it available if you'd like to use it. But probably starting in the spring, it will be, this is the form we're going to go to. Okay? I think it will work a whole lot better in trying to get our improvement plans done, because we'll have specifics here. And the students will be able to see, because if you're marking them emerging all the way down, and then on the final evaluation, you give them an unsatisfactory, you know, that's not gonna work very well. Over here, we don't have those kinds of things. So, you know, you can have a lot of comments and just kind of say, well, I think I'm going to choose unsatisfactory, but it wouldn't be. Yes, it would be like.
Does the student get a copy of this?
I don't
After
know.
you fill it out.
Okay,
Huh?
yes.
Yes, you
I
should
mean-
make a copy of it and give it.
Or
Oh, do they have a
is it
blank
on
one?
Is it on a, one of those things where you write on it?
CR?
Yeah,
No, like you would,
I'd have to fill out two of these.
well, you would just run it through a copier and give them a copy of it, or scan it and email it to them.
So we're just using one form, this one form for the whole semester.
Yeah.
Right.
So you would just,
Well,
Yeah.
it does provide some consistency and
very
continuity.
consistent,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like Dr. Lucas was saying, if you've marked them emerging, and then you go to do your midterm or you go to do your final, well, then when you're clicking on live text, well, that's pretty easy. Just
Right.
emerging, you know, so there's really not a lot of, you don't really have to think about back and forth between what you saw.
And you
So,
have
If these
one-
spaces were larger, you could use this the same way that you're doing that.
yeah, with the, yeah, we could, but this is,
Right.
this is exactly how our evaluation is set up in live text.
This is word for word, the evaluation form. And the students would have an idea of what kind of score they're gonna be getting at midterm. I mean, they, you know, if it was a week or so before they saw yours, which isn't the case, but they would pretty much know where they are. You could give them a copy if you wanted, but they are going to read it. You could go over it with them, because you are going to ask for their signature. That helps a lot too, because they've seen what you've given them. They know that they're unsatisfactory in 5 or 6 areas. They need to work on that. There's a date there, so, you know, and you're also giving additional comments here, just overall. But this is the direction we're going. And like I said, it will probably be in place in the spring. But I don't know if you want to give an option this semester, or if we just want to go ahead and go this route. What do you all think? You like that, okay? What do you all? I mean, it is,
See on the
it's more, but it's just exactly like the evaluation form. You're only gonna have one per student. So, you know, you could hole punch it and put it in a binder and take it with you, and, you know, just make sure that you have different colors of pens. I don't guess you have to, but at least that would kind of help you kind of see the progression.
You can
Because
always
they
just
put
date
a
it,
date.
Paul.
Pardon
You
me?
know, just date your
Right,
phone.
yeah, they put dates. You can see, like this one says the black is 131, this one is 228, and this one's 213. So every time this supervisor went to visit this student, this student was emerging at all 3 visits. So yeah, you wouldn't have to use a different color pen and just kind of, you know, if you know the last one's green, I'd be looking to see all my greens, have I improved or not? Yeah,
If I was really possible, but I'll probably get booed out of the room on this one.
that's right.
The old system that we used for live text,
Uh-huh,
where we were able to go in and take notepad or notebook or whatever in the room and do the observation and send it directly to the student
oh, on the iPad?
on the iPad. Yeah, that, to me, worked good for me. A lot of people have problems. I didn't have a problem with that program. A lot of people did. But being able to do that, that automatically give that to student. I mean, before I left the room, they normally had that on their, in their email.
Forms.
Is that what it was? I don't know what was used.
The problems they were having was getting the login. That was the issues that everybody had, was those iPads and the logins at the schools and.
Okay, and then I know some of the schools had problems with their internet and, you know, it wasn't working. I mean, we have to put it all on live text. I was just thinking,
But you don't put that on live text.
no.
But, you know, there's some way we have an observation form that we can just fill out while we're there. Or even once we get home, finish fill it out and just directly email that to them.
Be a
It's
lot easier,
electronic.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, cause, I mean, seriously, and I don't go that far or not, if you're in a school, you wanna give the kid a copy of it, well, I don't have access to the copy room.
Right.
No,
A lot of times, the student don't have access to the copy room, they gotta go get the key from the teacher, go down there, make a copy, bring it back. You know, your 10 minutes there, they're late getting back to the next
Right.
class.
Do all
Next
of
class
you
started.
have access to like a laptop or an iPad or? Let me talk, let me talk to George and let me see if, and we won't know, he's gone this week, his father passed away. So, I know we can put it into live text. The only thing is, once we put it into live text, that's data that we're gonna have to, and I know you can do it, I know you can, that we can update it. Let me work on that.
I mean, it wouldn't even be in live text, just somewhere we could get
Right.
it, use it as a fill form.
Okay,
One of the things, I like the new arrangement because they ask for specificity. That form, you're gonna have a really hard time
That's right.
being specific because those are chunks. This,
This is your backup.
Okay.
right. I mean, I like that for ease and clarity, but you're not gonna be as specific on that one as you would on this one,
okay,
or should be.
okay.
But this provides you enough documentation, because we're in the age of documentation, you know what I mean? And it seems like you gotta prove yourself every time you know, something comes up. So this does provide you some documentation that you need.
I'm at level 2, and that evaluation form on live text it's like a shotgun. I mean,
It's the same thing.
yeah, but at level 2, they need to know more specifically, like the things that are listed here. That's the reason I like this so much. Because I just completely agree with
So
the question.
if you use that, is it easy for you to go to this for their midterm and their final? Because this is not we don't get to change this. And I'm not talking this, I'm talking about the evaluation form, the level 2 and the level 3 evaluation forms.
I have my own form that I use, and I sit down with my form with their live text, and I
Okay.
transfer that information.
Okay, so live text is this form, but it has the bullets and,
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
have
it
any
can't
problem
change.
with that, but I like.
Will this be made available on live text later on?
Possibly. The only problem with putting this on live text is we have to go a different route because it will be changing every visit you go to. And we need it to calculate that data. So I know there is a way, because we do it for our writing samples, but we probably wouldn't have that available this semester.
We could have a paper copy though,
Right.
this semester of
Yes.
this. Yeah, I could get to work on it today.
Well, I'm
Or if you could get the
sending it
link,
to me, yeah.
that would be great.
So do you want to just make it a,
I think that if we all use this, that would be great. But This could also be just for basic note-taking, you know, very specific note-taking, if you wanted to use this on items that the students could work on. Does that make sense, that we do that?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
This would be far more valuable to the student than that text.
Well, now, this won't be in live text.
Right.
Well,
It'd be a paper.
but
You're just saying
not
the
that,
evaluation.
but The
Yeah.
live text evaluation
Right.
that corresponds to what the state.
And I
needs.
see what Ann's saying about the more specific
Mhm.
feedback.
Right.
I feel like you could give more probably on that, but this, you know, this would be more uniform for everyone, so. Everybody okay? We will send it to you, yeah.
Paul, even if you had with this, add more space on the back for comments.
You mean in this section right here,
Right.
or
Yeah, that
in,
would
make these
maybe-
bigger?
Well, either one, either the
Maybe
back one,
both.
Okay,
back one where you had a little bit more
okay,
space for comments that you could fill in.
okay. We
So I
can do
think
that.
that's the issue, is having no space to write in comments.
Okay. Yes, when it comes to me, I will expand it and give you more
We
space.
where it's a 13-page document, we have to.
Right, I know. 'Cause this one's, let's see, 2, 4, 6, oh, this one's 10. So it will probably be 14 or so by the time we expand all of those cells, but that's okay. And then we will also send you that one and maybe let you go through a semester and see how it works for you.
That's a good idea.
And then we'll have more specifics. You know, you can give us your feedback after you've used it this semester. But I know the evaluation form, unless the state changes it, I know that's probably not going to change. So, and they have, I'll be honest, they have talked about changing it. But, okay, so any questions about that? Okay, I am not going to go through the TPA with you, but I am just going to mention a couple of things, because I assume that the majority of you will be here when we do the student teaching sessions, that I'll be going through it specifically with the students like I did last semester. There were some changes. I'm just going to point out a couple of those, but this is kind of their portfolio that they do at the end. Unless they've talked to friends or seen other TPAs, they're really not going to know of the changes, but I know you all worked with them so long. Under the contextual factors, we did eliminate the content-specific factors. It was just students were going everywhere with that. So we left in the classroom, the community, school and family, and the student factors, but we did remove the content-specific factors. And that's also reflected in the rubric. The rubrics this time are bulleted, which we get yeses and nos about that, but this is the route we took this time, so they are bulleted. And what we tried to do was underline and bold, I'll show you. Underline and bold things that are new as you progress. So here's your unsatisfactory, and I know you can't read it, but you'll see it later. And then so this piece on student learning was added here, so that makes it a little more robust than unsatisfactory. Then we've got whole class and individual students, I think that's what that says here, to make this one a little more robust, and then you can see some things here that make, so that kind of helps you as you are going through. I will say again, and I'll tell the students that as a math person, I want to say, okay, so you have one here, and you have one here, and one over here. I want to average those and give you maybe something here. But what all assessors will tell you is that if you mark something in the lowest category, that's the category you have to go by. Which does make sense. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. But, you know, but if they're unsatisfactory in something, then that means this whole thing, they are unsatisfactory.
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
That's exactly right. So there are a few changes, but I think maybe the bolding and the underlining might help a little bit. Let me see. I just tried to mark a couple of things that we removed. Oh, we also removed the section on where they had to identify the domains, whether they were affective, cognitive, or psychomotor. That seemed to be causing students crazy craziness. They still have to put in like blooms and tell us what level, but we're not taking it a step further and having them tell us whether it's affective or psychomotor and all of that. They're still gonna be picking the 3 objectives and doing all of that. And I think there was one other major thing. And I'm not finding it right now, so I tried to highlight my notes. Okay, I'm not finding it. But I know there's another change. I will tell you that on the section where they have to talk about the individual students and pick the 2 focus students, we kind of meshed all of that together this time instead of separating it. So we kind of meshed it together so that they would look at whole class, individuals, and focus students together. Other than that, that's probably the majority of the big changes, but we'll go over those piece by piece in the seminars. And I was going to say one other thing. It left me.
Carl, if y'all would spend a little bit more time on the focus students when you talk to them, that's sort of a struggle. I'm trying to figure out exactly what they're supposed to do.
Yeah,
Those focus students.
remind me, in that first seminar, because in the first one, I try to just spend a lot of, well, let's see, Monday I'll just do contextual factors. But I will go ahead and talk to them about just some general things, like go ahead and mention the pre-test, oh, that's what I was gonna say, the pre-test and things like that, and then the focus students, so that they don't get, halfway through the semester, which they shouldn't anyway. But yeah, I'll stress that more. And if I forget, just remind me.
And that's another thing with the supervisors and teachers, a lot of them don't realize what's pre-test. And they'll throw them right in and get them going. Well, yeah, they don't have time to plan for that, so.
And we've gone round and round again at the state level, should we require a pre and a post, or should we let them do some other types of assessments? And I know we kind of stress pre and post here. Most of the other universities in the state do the same. And then whether the pre and the post have to be the same, and they do if they're going to be looking at some data. There are some other universities that say they don't have to, and I see that as long as they align them. But it's just easier right now for our students. The one thing we did do this time, and I'm hoping it will be ready by, I'm just going to tell you, it probably won't be ready by Monday. George has the template for the graphs done, but we're working on the directions, and with him out all of this week due to family situations, we may not get that as clear as we want, but we will give it to him in the second seminar. But what we decided to do this time was, instead of having them focus so much on making the bar graphs and making them look pretty and making the line graphs and all of that to do their data, we have a template where they're going to put in their data and it's going to make it for them. Now, they still have to put those in the document. They still have to analyze it. That's our key. I mean, we're looking at the analyzation of it. Can they talk about it? Do they know what it means? Not how pretty it is and all of that. But we do have that ready to go. And so all they're going to do is put the data in, and it makes really pretty charts for them, on the focus students, on each of the objectives, on each of the pieces of their assessments, and does all those. But then they're going to have to talk about the comparisons and the, how the students, if they improve or not.
Dr. Lucas, are the students providing enough information as far as data goes to explain what they've done with the data? Now, I find that out when I was doing PLCs, when I was principal and stuff, that they didn't go into the meat of the matter, as they say,
Right.
And that's the problem they run into, because they don't know. They can do the graphs and everything looks good and pretty, but
Right.
you don't know what they say, you've got a problem.
Right. And some of them do a really good job with that. Some of them do struggle. And in the assessment class, they're trying to work on that a little bit better so that they know what to look for. It's not just for this, but that's how they're going to need to use that information when
Do
they
you
get
all
out
want
of
to
the
see more of
classroom.
that on the TPA? Do you all want to see more of that?
Oh, yes, we would love more of
Okay, that's what I'm.
what it means. How did you get this?
What are you going to do with it?
What are you going to do with it? A couple of the rationales have been switched around as well. You'll see that in the TPA. But yes, we want, we want to know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna use it, how it's gonna make any changes or impact the learning of the students, so absolutely. But we don't want them to miss that by focusing on how to make a pretty chart. It's gonna do it for us. Now, after this semester, you all can come back and say, you know, you shouldn't have done that. They need to, and I know they need to be able to make charts, but they should be able to do that. They have to do that in my class at a very low level, so they should know how to do that. So we're just focusing on what does it mean. So, questions? Okay. So I will, as soon as I get that blank document for the evaluation from the other university, I will play with it and, you know, make some more space for comments. I'll send it to Amanda. She could send it out as well as the other piece that you all like. And we'll see how it goes. But it's really, really, really important that no matter what you use, that you really document. Because in the past, and I'm not saying any of you, I'm just saying years in the past, we've had students that we've had to fail at the end, and well, I should say we should have failed them, but there was no documentation, there was no improvement plan, and we didn't have a leg to stand on. And you know what's gonna happen if you don't have a leg to stand on, and if the documentation's not there, it's somebody above us is going to say, sorry, they're gonna go for it.
And I will say, as a group, I feel like everybody in here is really good at letting you know when there are problems. I mean, the main problems we end up having are attendance. You know, people just, I get emails sometimes that say, I felt ill today, so I didn't go to school. Well, I feel ill every morning when I wake up, and I get rest. You know, so, and that's what I tell them, and I'm gonna tell them that at orientation, you know, those are not excuses. You know, being in the hospital, being really sick, having a doctor's excuse, we understand that. Family emergencies, we understand that. But just not feeling well today is not.
I went to a concert last
Yeah,
night.
I went to a concert, and I mean, they're not gonna say that, but.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yeah.
They have.
But then, and you know, Bob and I had a student last semester who was generally an exceptional student. And he just kind of dropped the ball right at the beginning. And Bob came to me and I said, well, we need to nip this in the bud. And we did, and it just totally, you know, and he ended up thanking us. You know, thanking both of us for kind of kicking his butt in gear, you know. So, and sometimes they just need that, but.
And I think that's the key, is nipping it in the bud ASAP. Because if we wait and think, oh, maybe they'll
Give
clear
them
up
a
in a few
minute,
weeks, or, but I mean, we're gonna be at midterm, and then we have some trouble. So the sooner you can find those and see those and say, even if I was just seeing something that I didn't think I was seeing, let's go ahead and mention it, nip it in the bud, get it taken care of. And they will. They may not thank you right then, but they will,
Eventually.
you know, eventually.
I thought there was a limit to the number of times they could miss.
There is a limit.
Huh?
There is,
That's what I
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
But
And we have had people who have failed for the semester for
just of attendance.
because of attendance. And it wasn't because they were exceptionally sick and we failed them, it was just not coming, so.
And that's something too, you know, after the first one, you know, you only have so many. After the second one, you don't want to wait until they've missed 6 or 7 and they're like, oh, no, I really didn't miss that many. Well, you did.
And we find out, you know, Brady had a student last time who went and took the praxis and was supposed to go back to school. Well, he didn't, so he missed the whole day. And then he said he was going to take the praxis, and he didn't take the praxis that day, and he just missed a whole day. You know, we find things out. You know, it's like your mom. Your mom always finds out. So
You tell on each other.
we know, and they tell on each other, or they let it slip. You know, because if one of them misses, and we don't have that documented, because I document all attendance. Another student will say, well, I know so-and-so missed, and it didn't get counted against them. So we find out every time. So,
Or I'll come back in the next day and say, oh, I saw you at the mall today.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know you all weren't in class.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, sorry, you know, so anyway, just the quicker we can get on those things, the better off everybody is. So, does anybody have anything for the good of the group? before we sort of disperse? And if you need to talk to me individually, that's fine.
I do
Yes,
have
go
one
ahead.
more thing, and I will tell this to the students, but it just dawned on me. One of the terms that's going to be used in the TPA that changed drastically is technology. In the past, and I will stress to the students, in the past, the definition for technology included paper, pencil, ruler, those kinds of things. That was an actual definition for technology from our accreditation. We have changed that, so, yes. So paper, pencil, all of that's not technology anymore. It actually says, can't read it. The tools and techniques available through computers, the internet, telecommunications, and multimedia that are used by educator preparation providers, that's us, for instruction and the input, storing, processing, and analyzing of data and quality assurance systems. So it's what we think of
That's what I thought.
technology, yeah, so, and I will stress that to them. I'm done.
Seminar included in attendance.
Yes, yes. Seminar is included in the attendance. We make them sign in, and all of the seminars. I do make exceptions if a student calls me and says, listen, I am right in the middle of teaching my unit, or I'm going to be doing a video that day. Is there any way I can miss the seminar? I usually say yes, because we film them all. And I say, well, that's fine, but you have to go back and watch it, you know, give me questions, et cetera.
Two issues I have seen.
Yes.
One with English and one with social studies. And I'll guarantee you there'll be at least half the student teachers in English that go in and teach a novel.
Yes.
They need to realize that novel is not their unit.
Right.
You know, I mean, anybody can read a novel in class, they have to realize that is not their unit, but most of them don't understand that part of it.
No, they don't.
And the other thing you run into is social studies. So many of them want to do something on technology and looking up stuff, and they'll spend 4 or 5 days of their unit doing that, which to me is an issue too.
Yeah.
I mean, true, it's necessary, you have to do it, but you need more to your unit than just going in, okay, this is your subject clearance, you work on this for 3 days and give a report on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so I see a lot, and my guess is they get a lot of that here.
Right, yeah, right.
Is my guess.
Unfortunately.
But, you know, that needs to be stressed, because I'll stress it to them, oh, really, you know.
You know, somebody I was thinking about, and I think you might have supervised him, was Derek Sarver. Did you supervise
I
Derek,
did.
or Clarence maybe?
I know he's
He,
like that.
he was English, and he, you know, I think he did a novel for his thing, but he did. I mean, he had like a 20-day unit that went along with it. I'm sure he remembered it. But, you know, it was like, they need to understand it's not going in, reading out loud in class, writing, what did you learn today, or what's your reflection of the day, you know? And we will stress that as much as possible, so.
And I did think of one more thing, and because they may not hear this from me, but last year it was a maximum of 3 video clips totaling 15 minutes. This year, it has to be 2 or more. It could be 20, but maximum 15 minutes. But some of them, you know, with that 3, they weren't getting everything, and so obviously you can't get an intro and a conclusion in 15 minutes. So that's why we said it 2 or more, but it could be 20, but tell them when 15 minutes hits, even if your best stuff, you know, is the last 10 minutes, it will stop at 15 minutes. So,
Because
But
there'll
they
be
can't-
some of them have 20 clips. You
Yeah, I know,
I mean,
I know.
every time.
I'm gonna
so.
try to discourage that, but that could happen.
Yes, that's for student teaching. All right, so here's to a great semester. And if you have any questions that you want to ask me off to the side, that's fine. I'm going to keep on. I've got the list. I'm still working on it. I may touch base with a few of you while we're in here just to see if you would handle a certain school or do this or do that. So, okay. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate